Right
Cool.
on. Right on, man. So you just getting done with the day?
I'm actually getting a bunch of stuff done for today. Today's my day off, so
Okay,
I
right on.
usually spend it getting a bunch of shit done that I need to get done that I can't do throughout the week.
Word up. Pardon me, I'm just gonna archive this post. This kid, he stole one of my quotes from my interview with Kevin Lee, so I had to blast him on my Instagram page. But then he
Kevin
credited
Lee's the
me.
man.
Yeah, Kevin Lee's the man. I just spoke with him yesterday and Chiesa and had a busy week, so I apologize for not getting back to you with the reminder text.
No,
But
you're
thanks
all
for
good.
making the time, man. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah.
Things are looking very exciting in your weight class right now. I mean, we got a hell of a matchup coming up. I know you have a lot of great guys around you, man. How do you feel entering this matchup, and what excites you about it?
I mean, I feel better than ever. I'm finally around a solid group of guys that are, like-minded athletes and like-minded training partners who, starting families and like have families and, just having that family atmosphere around you is super important because it keeps you grounded. And, we're all training for one goal, and that's to be the best in the world. And, our team, I feel, is like the most solid team out there. There's not one person on our team we dislike. There's not one person that we bump head with. So everything's looking
Awesome.
promising. And I think I'm looking forward to this fight. It's Sergio Pettis. How can't you be excited? You got a big name. Excited for the division, showing on this fight you're gonna see two guys going for it, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it is, man. I know I'm personally, I can speak on my excitement. I'm freaking stoked for that matchup. What do you think about Sergio's game? He does well, and is there anything that you think that you should be worried about?
Yeah, everything. I should be worried about a well-rounded fighter trying to end the fight. So I think he's well-rounded. He's been in with the who's in his division in the flyweight division, and moving up to 135. He's definitely in for a different animal, that's for sure. Of course, a lot of fighters always say like, "Oh, he's never faced a fighter like me," da da da. But he has faced fighters like me, and he's overcame them. He's lost to some, and you know, and it's going to be a good scrap for the fans to go out there and see who dictates the pace first.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was going to be my next question. Is specifically, what do you think? What do you think he has to worry about with you?
Yeah, I mean, as you can see in the Patricio fight, I'm hard to put away. Even Patrick Mitch fight as well. I'm not a guy that's gonna get tired and give up. I'm gonna fight to the bitter end, and this is my livelihood. This is everything I fought for to be in this position to fight the best. And right now, Sergio is the best in our weight class outside of me, and I'm looking forward to the scrap.
Right on, man. Right on. You like we said, you got a lot of great guys around you. We were just speaking to the conditioning of you coming up to this fight, and it seems like you guys are always working out pretty hard in the garage there. I mean, how excited are you for TJ's comeback? I know you guys are very close.
Yeah, I mean, he's been working with me since, he got suspended, even though with the shoulder surgery, I think he was able to sit back and coach and really fall in love with the sport again. I'm not saying he wasn't in love with the sport again, but as far as like living vicariously through someone and really fall in love with coaching and like finding ways to do a game plan for me and me sticking to a game plan and watching someone else, him pour his heart into someone else and have the nerves and have the fighting jitters that you have as coaching, and now it's his time. Now he's ready to go, and I see him coming back and getting a title fight right away because, to be honest, who else is Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling going to fight in the division? It doesn't make any sense. The people are going to be mad. People are going to talk shit, and that's what brings attention, and that's what our sport is right now, is bringing attention to a fight that people aren't going to agree with, bringing a guy that, who had the belt and didn't lose it. And now you have two guys, just holding the interim belt while he's been training this whole time. And if someone falls out of this weekend's fight, he has the conditioning right now to step right in and fight any of those guys and win.
Right on. I mean, I was gonna ask you about that because a lot of times we worry about fighters who have been gone for a while, and then for whatever reason they've been gone. But it seems like TJ's been working his ass off since he left, and like you said, he's been working with you guys and coaching and helping other people on the team. Do you think excuse me, do you think TJ's gotten a lot better since the last time we saw him? And is there something that he's going to surprise us with?
Yeah, I mean, he's been working with myself, Brian Ortega, Cub Swanson. Um, and he's been in the gym. It's not like he's missed a beat. I mean, I still have a hell of a time even, practicing with them. And I
Mhm.
consider myself the best bantamweight in the world right now. And for him for me to still be pushed by him and every day just grinding with them, I mean, speaks volume on where his mindset's at. It's just like
Absolutely.
he has a skip beat for sure.
Yeah, I know we're excited for that. How big of a role is he going to play in your corner for this fight? Is he going to be there with you?
That all depends on when they schedule them to fight. Obviously, it looks like their UFC's waiting for this weekend to play out to see what they're going to do with them. Um, and then hopefully they don't book him close to my fight because that will suck because he'll be in camp. But if not, we have a solid we have a solid team. But he plays a huge impact in my career. Especially when we're both grinding together. I mean, he knows certain things about my style that knows when to pull back off coaching and let me kind of figure it out and when to step up and really get in my face and coach and for me to turn it up a gear or two. So
Yeah.
that's what's the best thing about having your training partners as your corner. They know your ins and outs. They're in there grinding with you, so they know when you're getting tired. They know when to pull back. They know when to what to tell you to spark you back up. So it's more than just a team camaraderie. It's like a overall our livelihood.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we know we've seen you and TJ together for a long time. I know you guys got a great relationship. You guys train hard together. You've talked about that after your last fight. But, how about the other guys that are around you? Is there anybody else that stands out that just has a huge impact on your career and your day-to-day with fighting?
Yeah, I mean, Cub Swanson has been a huge impact in my career since Joe Daddy Stevenson has introduced me to him because I started off with Joe Daddy Stevenson, and he's had a huge impact in my career too on navigating my career on the do's and don'ts. Because as a fighter, you want to rush into the limelight so fast, but he sat me down and said, "Hey, look, if this is your career, take your time." And then Cub Swanson, same thing. He's been able to slow me down and let me make a career out of it instead of being the flash heat in the pan and one and done type fighter. Now I have a name. Now I have an impact. Now I'm ready for whatever anyone throws at me. And my previous workout partners that I've had, Lance Palmer and Brian Ortega, I mean, I'm super excited to show the technique that and the difference that Brian has put on my grappling style, as well as Felipe Del Monica, to implement in this next fight coming up. It's going to be
Right
fun.
on. Heck yeah, man. You spoke on Lance Palmer there. He's got a title defense coming up as well against Bubba Jenkins. What do you make of that matchup?
Man, I'm telling you, Lance is probably one of the strongest dudes I've ever I've ever even like grappled or sparred or worked out with. He's just like a brick house, man. This guy's like, man, I can't even explain it how strong this dude is. But he's coming back. He. I think it was good that they had a year off because you got to let his body heal. I mean, fighting 5 times in 1 year and then back-to-back fights in one night. It's a lot. It's a big toll on your body, whether you feel it or not. And I think you're going to see a way better Lance Palmer come out this season on the PFL as he defends his titles and make a huge impact again for the PFL.
Right on. Yeah, man. I mean, we're all excited about that.
Yeah.
Earlier you spoke about, you're the best 135er in the world. I mean, how do you think you match up with some of those UFC guys right
Well,
now,
I
some of the
train with the
top 35ers?
yeah, I train with the 35-pound kingpin every day. TJ. So I, just like Michael Chandler going in there and doing what he does. I have even at 145. I feel like I could go in there 135 and 145 and make an impact right away, fighting
Mhm.
top five contenders. I know where I stand. I don't have no insecurities or like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's in the UFC. I don't give a shit. I train with these guys every day.
Yeah. It's the
That's what
same
people don't
community, right?
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't understand the casual fans. Like, oh, you're just in the B league. It's like, man, if you follow my Instagram or follow my career, I've been training with these guys. I know where I stand. I don't have no insecurities or nothing to prove to these guys.
Yeah. I
I know
hear
how good I am
we also,
and all
to
that.
that point, always hear, I hear a lot of guys in Bellator. I don't want to call anybody out because I like some of these guys, but I hear a lot of them in the interviews, like specifically talk about how they match up with the 35ers or excuse me, not the 35ers, the UFC fighters in their weight class. And so it's funny to hear you say, you know what, man, I train with these guys. I know where I'm at because the other folks should too. They don't really need to tell everybody because, like you said, if you're not a casual and you're in the mix, you kind of know what the scene looks like
Yeah,
back there. But nah, that's cool. I mean,
yeah.
we got TJ. Like you said, depending on what happens with this next the fight with Aljo and Peter, we'll see. But what do you think a fight between Jan looks like with TJ and a fight between Aljo and TJ? And is there one that
Man,
you think
I
you guys would
still
prefer?
believe that. I just think that we're still light years ahead of these guys on just training. And, obviously TJ got knocked out his last fight. So, shit happens in fighting. That's why we fight. There's never a definite outcome that's going to happen, and it's proven time and time again in fighting. Obviously, the way we train, we believe that, there's no one out there that can keep up with us if it's our night, obviously things happen. Some things get sideswiped or some shit like that. And then, we lose as part of the sport. But I think either fighter out of Peter Yan and Aljo, I think TJ just dismantles them, especially how hungry he is right now to prove, like, listen, man, like, I took this stuff because, lack of iron in my body and how anemic he was dropping down to the weight class. There was times he was overtraining, and I should have spoke up as a training partner and told him, but that's what kind of lacked the deficiency on some of the things he was dealing with. And then it was a chance that it's just something that he did. So now he's moving past it. Now he has so much confidence going forward, knowing that he doesn't need that crutch anymore. Like, that was just a incident that happened. Now believe in yourself, believe in your technique, and believe in who you are, and you'll be right back on top. I mean, he served his time. His time's up.
Yeah.
Like, no
Yeah.
one can talk shit anymore. He
Nah.
confessed. He served his time, and now it's time to fucking move forward.
Yeah, let's
Whether
get
people
on with it.
like it or not.
No,
Yeah.
I love that,
So
man. I mean,
uh,
he's, it's talking about his last fights, watching him play the weight class game. What do you think about two titles? Is that something that has interested you in Bellator, and are you is that on your radar at all right now?
well, if you look at my career, that's something I pride myself on. I was the first fighter to hold 4 belts in one organization in 4 different weight classes.
Mm.
And I've done it in multiple organizations. So, it's going to be a stamp that I leave on my career and my legacy. And when people look back, they're going to realize, like, man, this dude was badass. Like, it's hard to do stuff like that. Like, I went down and cut the same weight as some of these people did to make the weight classes and fight. And a guy like Henry Corrales, he's going to realize, he's talking all this shit about me. He's going to realize how hard it is to drop down in weight class and really perform, and you got people like, oh, you got to, it was already planned that I was fighting for the 135 title first. It just so happened that they had a Grand Prix tournament for 145, and I ended up losing the title fight, over some shit.
Yeah.
So it's just like, whatever, man. Like, it was no for now at that time. I came back, I won, and then I won the title, and now I'm looking, hopefully, whoever wins out the Grand Prix, we're definitely already in negotiations for that next title fight.
Okay. And so you would be looking to hold both simultaneously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm getting ready to defend it. Hopefully, Horiguchi steps up and mans up to the plate and accepts the fight. I know with Japan having a bunch of problems with the COVID situation, they kind of put that on stalemate, and we were going back and forth. First the fight was on, then it was off, then it was on, then it was off, like 8 different times. So Coker's like, you know what? We're gonna book you against Pettis, and I was like, perfect, let's do it. And then but to have something so prestigious as a Risen title and a Bellator title, and then going up and hopefully doing it for both organizations will be unheard of. Having 4 simultaneously belts at one time. Because that's what I said. Give me the 45 champion, then if Horiguchi don't want to fight me, and let me fight for the Risen 45 title. But so it's in negotiations. We're gonna work on it, and then I'll be one of the only fighters to hold 2 weight classes championships at one time. That's gonna be unheard of.
Man, I'll tune in for that. That sounds all right by me. What do you think about the whole cross promotions things? And I know the UFC hasn't really given it much thought. Do you think that they're missing out on big fights with that?
No, because they don't need to. They're the marketing machine right now. They're the reason why MMA is where it's at. They've spent billions and billions of dollars marketing themselves to become a household sport and a household name like the NFL. That they paid their dues. They don't need another organization. Like.
Hmm.
And it sucks because as fighters, we do want to test ourselves. That's what was nice about boxing when they finally decided to do cross promotions and put title for titles. Now you have a unified champion, and hopefully one day it probably won't be in my time.
Uh-oh.
Egos are put aside, and they make it more about making bigger fights, and not make it so much about the promotion, but make it about making legitimate fights that make sense for worldwide across. That's when you'll get to see really interesting matchups, and get to see who really is pound for pound the number one martial artist in the world.
Yeah, right on. So, we're talked a little bit about your fight coming up here and Sergio Pettis. On just a more casual note, have you ever had, or how much personal interaction have you had with Sergio before this? And what are your thoughts on him as a person?
Yeah, I mean, I've met his brother more than I met him. Sergio, he's a cool ass dude. Both of them, both brothers. They're just really down to earth, humble people. Hanging out, see them. All fighters are. And then there's some people that had to put a little more front than others to play a character. But I feel like most fighters, they're just themselves, and that's the best type of fighters to fight, because now you leave all the trash talking and all this shit out of there. That you just make it about who's better, not
Yeah.
who's better. And I give props to people that talk shit and be able to build up a fight. There's going to be a time that I'm going to do it, and the right person to do it with. It's just you meet some people that are really cool as fuck, and you don't want to attack their personality or who they are. And it's
Hmm.
just it comes off not organic when you do it, and that's the type of fights people don't tune in to watch. They want to see organic, built up fights.
Hmm. And we saw, a little bit back and forth with Cejudo and TJ. What is your take on that and the whole beef thing? Does it drive you? Does it distract you? Are you a fan of it? Is it just nothing for you if you have
Yeah, I
that
mean,
type?
to me, I'm one of 7 kids. I'm the third youngest. My brothers talk shit to me all the time. To me, I just laugh it off, and it's like whatever. If you want to fight, we can fight, and they'll beat my ass, of course. And then it happens, and I move on. So I was like, well, I just still laugh it off. I think you get more of a reaction when you're able to look someone dead in the eye and just laugh at how ignorant they're being or how dumb they're being. And it's to
Mhm.
me, I take the comical side of it, and and I feel like it gets under their skin more.
Yeah.
As far as the Cejudo and TJ deal, I mean, that was real animosity brought up by Cejudo, because they were talking about ending the flyweight division, and they were bringing TJ down, because TJ wanted to be the champ, and then it didn't happen, but it led into a lot of animosity, throughout the whole division. He lost some friendships over it, and so it's crazy. Yeah, I mean the type of things that happen, and people's feelings get hurt.
Tell
And
us a
you
little bit
lose
more about that.
friendships. Yeah, I mean, there's just when someone's saying that you're going to take someone's job and like take it out from under them, obviously it pisses people off. So you got like some people that were they had announced that they were probably gonna extinct the 125 anyway, right? When Mighty Mouse had the division under wraps, and then so when TJ decided to go down, and Cejudo beat Mighty Mouse, then it was like, oh, okay, well, if you're gonna end the division anyway, like might as well pump it up and say it's going to be me to end the division. So it got a lot of animosity through, some of TJ's friends that he had that were in the weight class that I guess were offended by it. And so, you know, you get guys that are just like, fuck, man, you're trying to take my job. Like, so I see where both sides are coming from.
Yeah, no doubt,
Yeah,
no
kind of.
doubt. Do you you know, you
Yeah,
talked about your contentness and your security with who you are, how good of a fighter you are, and where you're at in your career. Have you ever,
yeah.
is there any interest for you to go to the UFC if something happened today and they called and they said, "Hey, we really want you on. We want to talk to Bellator, break your contract. Bellator's on board," or maybe we'll just leave that out of the hypothetical. But what do you think about that? Does it interest you at all?
Well, money talks for everything, right? I'm trying to set up my future for my kids. So if they came out and bought my contract out and paid me a hell of a lot more money than where I'm at now, then of course, man, we're all of us are trying to fight for that big prize, right? To set up our family where we don't have to worry about my kids worrying about money or school or anything from that point on. And so yeah, I mean, it definitely interests me because now, you know, you got to realize promotions use fighters for what fighters are worth. You know, like okay, this guy got some big following, we're gonna pump him up and not our champ. You know, and it's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna use you as a promoter and you know, promote me and win as much as I can to make my stock bigger too. And that's what you see with a lot of guys that leave UFC that have built the name, hence Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero. Like, look how big of an impact it made for the 205 division that they did the Grand Prix. You know, that those guys used the UFC for what they were, and it's awesome. And then they had a big enough name to actually get paid a hell of a lot of money from Bellator to sign over to Bellator and make it a reason. You know, so
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
cool
a
to see
great
that.
point.
That's what something Eddie Alvarez told me is like, keep building your stock up. Keep, you know, the promoters are going to use you for what you're worth and try to squeeze every last ounce out of you. You know, let them do what they need to do to raise your stock, and then when it's time to go, you go to the negotiation table and let's hope you have a good manager that knows how to talk, and then go from there. You know.
That's not a bad
So
blueprint. That's not a bad blueprint at all.
yeah,
So, nah, I mean, so for you,
yeah,
basically, the most important thing is money and how much you can support your
yeah.
family and take care of the next generation.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Bellator does. I mean, they do treat fighters well. There's you know, you got to look at the overall picture on the promotion standpoint. You know, that's something that I did. I did my own promotion and things like that when I was in younger, so I could understand where the promoters sit at. And then if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars, obviously. So you know,
Mhm.
you're not going to get paid as someone as more famous than you. Just you know, flat out, plain and simple.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
can't cry about it as a fighter, right? You're not going to sit there and like belittle your promotion because you're not getting what someone else is getting. Like, you know,
Mhm.
you got a Cyborg and her opponent that they had to pay like a ridiculous amount of money for her to fight Cyborg, but
Mhm.
you don't let it offend you. You're like, okay, like obviously that person made a lot more money than some fighters get or some title holders get, but it is what it is. They still got to sell and make it make sense, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I know a lot of people that can't see it the same way. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's a healthy perspective though. You know, I mean, you gotta be rational with it. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
as far as I know you got things to do. It's your day off. You got stuff to get done. So thanks for making the time. I'll end on this note. But as far as the fight with Pettis goes, how do you envision it in your head, and do you have any predictions for it?
Me, man, the way I see it, I train so damn hard. I've been training, you know, as soon as my fight's over, I jump right back in the gym. That I don't like being cheated my 25 minutes. I love taking deep waters. I love just experimenting in the cage and taking my time. And if the finish happens, it happens. But me personally, I'm a 25-minute guy because I want to see what this guy really has. You know, I want to prove that to myself that I did the hard work to go 25 minutes, and anything less is almost a letdown for me. You know,
Cheating
I
yourself.
love. Yeah, exactly. But the finish happens. It happens, man. Don't get me wrong. I love a
Yeah.
finish and then go home. It's an easy night. But I'm looking to spend 25 minutes in the cage with Sergio and see what he truly has. You know.
Yeah. If you had to get a finish, would you rather a knockout or a submission?
You know what? I've had some really good TKOs and some knockouts. I'd love to get if a submission opens up, I'm going to be jumping submissions. So it's going to be it's going to be pretty fun to try. And
Yeah.
see where I end up. It might be a bad night for me, or it might be a good night. But I've been working a lot with Brian Ortega, so he
Yeah.
has me ready. He has me learning how to jump submissions, and they call him T City for a reason. So
Yeah.
we'll see what
Hey, I'd
happens.
be remiss if before I let you go, I just want to ask on that note. He's got a big matchup coming up himself. How do you think that's gonna go with him and
Man, Brian.
on and
Yeah,
Volk?
yeah, man. I mean, Volkanovski's obviously a brick house, dude. This guy's gonna come, and he hits hard, and he could take some hits too. A good friend of mine, Chad Mendez, when he fought, cracked him over and over with that overhand right that he does and that left
Yeah.
overhand. And I was like, man, how is Volkanovski taking these? But so you got two guys that have really solid granite chins, and then I think Brian has a little more in his arsenal with his jujitsu. I'm hoping for a submission for Brian, and I see it playing out like that. And I think I know Brian gets it done.
All right, all right. Well, we're excited for
Yeah,
that one. We're excited for your one. We're excited for Lance. It's a great time right now. So thanks for making the
yeah.
time with everything you got going on to chat with me. I'm Breeze. This is the MMA Breeze, and hopefully we can have you back on soon. Maybe a little closer to your fight or after.
All right, sounds good, Breeze. Thanks, man. Appreciate you having
All
me
right,
on.
man. My pleasure.
All
Take
right,
care,
take
man.
care.